Well, hello, everybody, and this is how today's talk is getting started. Say hello to Braska and her butt, and she's going to lay on the keyboard now. Hey, B. But I want to say check out CariniArts.com for my shop, my blog, my podcast, and it is Mental Health Awareness Month. You may catch this at a different time, but I feel like it's always a good time to talk about mental health. Today's topic, I wanted to get into something. Somebody asked me a question the other day, and it was a great question. And I think it's the first time that I've ever heard anybody else externalize this thought. And she asked me, what is sort of the boundary between being inspired by and emulating an artist versus being a copycat? And it was a fantastic question. I think it's becoming a more imperative question in the world that we're living in right now, too, it's particularly with AI and whatnot. I think that adds a definite layer to the conversation in terms of stealing and copying and whatnot. But that's a conversation for a different day. But I'll kind of go back to the early stages of my journey. And when I was in third grade, what I used to do is I used to copy X-Men drawings because that's what I liked. And how do most of us get started as artists? We create and copy the things that we like. And oftentimes it leads us to sort of the first body of work or whatever we focus on. Like I remember in school, I was known for doing X-Men drawings and whatnot, or creating superheroes because I was a young boy and that's what I liked. So if you're into anime, let's say, then chances are, if you're getting started as an artist, that you're probably doing a lot of stuff that's in the anime realm or whatnot. Now, when I went off to college, one of the things they have you do as an exercise is they have you recreate the works of masters. So what I would do is I would say take a Da Vinci drawing, for example, and I would recreate it in pencil or in charcoal or something like that. And it helped me really kind of hone in on my technical prowess. But at some point, you need to, if you want to do this for a living and create your own authentic voice, you need to venture away from that. And so what is that boundary at that point? And so I remember when I was in college and I would be working on my thesis work, that when I would be spending a lot of times at the museums or at art shows at galleries or looking at other artists' work, my peers in critiques and in classes, that what I was seeing at that time when I would go home immediately afterwards and start creating is that that would infiltrate, if only on a subconscious level, my work, and it would impact my voice. And so I found that what I had to do was to create a barrier of sorts, or a degree of separation, a layer of separation. And I found that the way to do that was to, before I would create, is I would have to kind of get away from looking at that for a period of time, so that even though I still may have had an idea in my mind, it wasn't as clear of a picture. It was more abstract. And because it was more abstract, I could kind of funnel it in such a way that I could still maintain my own authentic voice without being too derivative of this other artist. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is have reached a point in my career where I have been around for a long time, and I do have people, not so much on this platform, but on other platforms that follow me, larger audiences. And there are some people that see my signature techniques, things that I'm known for, and I do see them start to kind of take some of the things I do and work it into their own work. And I'm never really bothered by that. In fact, I'm flattered by it because it tells me they think I'm doing something right. And the same way that I copied masters, not to say that I'm a master, because I'm a master of nothing, but to have other people copy me, it's really kind of a flattering thing because it means that they like something that I'm doing. And if I can be a vessel or a tool to help others find their own voice, and then that's a wonderful thing. But at some point, I feel that they're going to want to find their own voice, because the greatest thing that you can offer the world as an artist is your story. And that's what you should tell. Because even if somebody copies me, even if their technical skill is better than mine, nobody can tell my story better than I can, just as I can never tell your story better than you can. So I think that's an important thing to remember, is regardless of your skill level or how long you've been doing this, the thing that you have to your advantage is the ability to tell your story. I think that's an important thing to remember. It doesn't mean that we can't be inspired by other artists. So I have artwork right now inspired by Van Gogh and Starry Night in a gallery, but I haven't, and at the time that I created it, I had looked at Starry Night for probably a couple weeks, And so there was enough separation that I could just use sort of the abstract idea in my head and filter it in such a way through my funnel to create my own work in my own voice that was just paying homage to Van Gogh. So I don't think that there's a right or a wrong answer in this case. Obviously, there are going to be artists that don't like you copying them. I'm not as bothered by it. But say, for example, if someone just straight up steals your work and tries to sell it and market it as their own, this is a very interesting conversation that you could kind of take down a number of different avenues. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts, your comments, what you have to say about this, how you feel about emulating the work of other artists, and how you would feel about people emulating or potentially copying you. So share your thoughts, share your comments. Join me on Facebook at Carini Arts, and join me on Instagram at Acrylic Alchemy, or you can look me up by Michael Carini or Carini Arts. So hope you can join me there. Try my Reels challenge on Instagram, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.